signature assassins as well. So if they're able to set the tempo, if they're able to carry out the early game, this might be a better situation for Apbren overall.
Last series for week number 7 is underway. A do-or-die match for the debuting team of Apbren. Once MDL champions, now in the brink of elimination. Will they be able to regain this series? This is Apbren versus Onic Philippines.
Yep.
Whoa.
Match point at that, but Super Prince! Woo, that was close. Okay.
He's like, yeah, that's why I like the Loyer. That early damage already is always something that surprises, you know, a lot of players that go against a Loyer. So this will be interesting because, yeah, I really do think that Apbren's lineup here could work out really well. It's just going to be how do they play around it? How do they capitalize around this too? James Panks being proactive on this Ling is going to be important. Not only that, but also protecting his buffs for him. And you can bet that Onic Philippines wants to counterplay into the jungle if they can.
Yep. You know, this just goes to show that the mentality of Apbren is literally what James Panks said, that they have no regrets.
Yep.
They're not afraid. They're planning to leave everything out right now and try to contest for a playoff spot, because despite losing an 11-minute, 17-second game, they're still, you know, proactive right now, as you mentioned. And James Panks with his one of his signatures, the Ling, going up against the Hayabusa of King Kong. Later on, when it comes to neutral objectives, we'll see if he's really ready for the big leagues.
Yeah, and for some reason, it's still Onic Philippines with a better control of the map. They're able to anticipate wherever Apbren is planning to go and move around. So they have full information, and they can just base off whatever rotations they want to do from these informations. Just look at Brusco, really making sure that James Panks is within sight, but they are definitely going to go for the contest. James Panks goes in, but fails to secure the retribution. And look at that beautiful fist break, fist crack combo coming in from Kirk. But now the fight is split into 2, and Apbren gets to take down 2.
Great kills for Apbren. Yeah, they trade the turtle, but they'd rather go for the kills, and it went into the right hands. At least James Panks got one too. And so with that, they give themselves this little bit of a lead to work around. But, you know, you saw that Onic Philippines' plan was to just get the turtle and get out, because even then King Kong didn't go back to join the fight. So, again, a trade that maybe they were looking for there, but ultimately favoring Apbren.
Yeah. It was also crucial that there was, had to revitalize, so the sustain was enough. King Kong disciplined enough to decide not to enter anymore and just sacrifice Kirk for the objective take. As long as they try and prevent a potential snowball from Apbren, they will be able to do their job. Abyssal Arrow is going to connect, plus the Wiki Shadow Kill, even force out the Flicker. But you cannot outrun a ninja like King Kong.
Oh, look at Super Prince though. It feels so rare to see him actually do that. I know he did it in Mobile Masters.
It's grown on him.
But like, even up until now?
Yeah. I mean, you expect Super Prince to be this confident, but there!
Well, did you see King Kong just stand in front of everyone? But now they are going to go in for the counter engage. The Abyssal Arrow still connects on to Shizu though, forces out the Purify, and now Brusco is still able to sustain everything despite all that.
Well, that's too bad. That arrow, you know, if that arrow connected, would have been easier for them to get the kill. But look at this pressure from Kirk. Gets a lot of gold down there, and the fact that Kelro is up for that fight and then grabs a kill is a big moment there for Onic Philippines.
That's why they also opted for a Bruno, so in terms of fighting power, they also have a punch early on in the game, but I really want to commend Super Prince. The Abyssal Arrow literally passed through 2 bodies that connected to Shizu, even forced out the Purify. And that's crucial because there's a turtle take, and your Moskov doesn't have Purify, but Kirk going up against 3, trying to delay the purple buff take.
What could be the call here? 12 Skirts seems to be hovering around the map with that diversion, but every single diversion attempt seems to be scouted and anticipated by Onic Philippines. There's the Abyssal Arrow and the trap landed onto Kekedot. Let's see how they set things up for this turtle.
Go Shadow in. They're waiting and not overcommitting just yet. Super Prince, they're waiting for the glorious pathway to be casted. AOG coming in from Kirk, not gonna connect onto anyone, but Kirk On the other hand, onto the back line, who's gonna get the turtle?
All right, they get to dodge the AOG, and James Banks this time secures the turtle for themselves. They might be going for the disengage. They're happy with that objective that they got.
Again, a good take there, really a push and pull, but you still got to be able to respect, you know, even what Apbren can do in a team fight. And again, Onic Philippines has to decide on how they follow up on either the Abyssal Arrows or even Kirk's initiations. But so far, it just seems like, you know, they're focusing on farming up, doing what they can, because even for Kelra, his damage spike is going to come pretty soon. You know, a lot quicker here on a Bruno, where that damage really starts to show, especially when those first couple items are locked in. He's already got the Haas Claws, so he can go ahead and sustain through some of these fights. But nonetheless, this is a lot better game for Apbren in game 2.
Yeah, they're able to manage things so much well. And even in terms of the waves, Onic Philippines, compared to the first game, they're yet to take away a turret, but look at how they've transitioned into making sure that they mess up King Kong's farming.
The senses of King Kong to be able to dodge Kekidot's potential setups. He's playing it safe, but at the same time in style with the shadow of the Hayabusa. And what I like about Apbren is that they're packing a punch compared to game number 1. This time they're being aggressive, proactive, trying to invade onto King Kong, and at the same time they're not forcing anything. Because most of the time, if you have a Joy and Louis combination and you're not doing anything in the early game, you're forced to make something out of nothing.
Yeah, they can kind of also just respond to Onic Philippines, because they know that Super Friends is going to spend a lot of time, you know, scouting out with the traps, but also throwing out the arrows. And honestly, if Super Friends doesn't land those early on, there's really not much of a choice that they can do to force a fight, unless, again, Kirk is willing to go ahead and expend the flicker to get a setup, you know? So the whole game plan for Onic Philippines is really playing around the Abyssal Arrows, and Apbren knows that. So they can be the ones to go ahead, kind of react to that, let James Panks farms up. You have a lot more options to start fights if you want to, if you're Apbren, especially with being able to go ahead and reposition the way you want to around having a Luo Yi. But now this turtle is up here. It's the last one of the game. They'll go ahead and get ready to fight for it.
And we see the Infinix hand cam of James Panks on the link too, while they prepare for this upcoming take. But it seems like they scouted Kekidot, and they're yet to actually go in. Apbren, they're just waiting for their timing.
Shizu opting to go for a top lane trade instead. James Panks wants to go for the red re-steal, but King Kong will secure the turtle.
Yep, they did go for the retribution, but they did not get to secure the objective, and now the Abyssal Arrow lands onto Chop Skirt as well. Not even on a Brave Smite will be able to stay for long. There's the only one left toward the bottom lane, but he gets caught in the fist break, and that'll be enough for Apbren to look for other things across the map.
Great push, though, from Shizu, despite it all. You know, at least able to get that tier 2. But these are now the pressure points from Onic Philippines to go ahead and work on this, even in the buff.
Oh no, Tempest of Blaze already used, and right into the Abyssal Arrow! James Banks will fall! There is the next as well, but for some reason, he's able to sustain just a bit of the damage, but not for long, and Kekidot, it's a triple for Super Friends!
The Monster Mage once again making his presence felt with an amazing play as Onic Philippines continues their push. Shizu slowly finding ways to even out the economy. At this point, Apbren is going to resort to the strength of their lineup, which is the split push. Whether it's James Panks, whether it's Shizu, they have to do it because again, they're in the brink of elimination up against Onic Philippines.
Oh my goodness, I just have to say it's a 6-0-1 for Super Friends.
It's kind of impressive when you see a game of a Selena in the hands of Super Friends, because he's able to make things happen like that. And you don't see that all the time, because a lot of the times the Selena players are just playing around those arrows and letting the team follow up. But no, it's Super Friends that's getting the triple kills and the kills in between all these angles in the jungle even. And I mean, you're seeing it. So I hope that this time that Shizu's been farming up and pressuring in. Oh, diversion. They send James Pank on that side.
Shizu, he doesn't have a Winter Crown or anything, so he's gonna be taken down by King Kong. No defense. defensive items. A major shutdown for Onic.
3 members of Apbren, they find themselves against 4 members. No, make it 5 of Onic Philippines, but they're fortunately able to walk away from danger just in time for this upcoming Lord. But still, they have to consider that was Shizu that got taken out.
Oof, and he's going to lose the purple buff here. Now for James Panks. As I was just saying, I hope that time that Shizu's been pushing around the map, it pay off, but he gets picked off instead, and now this Lord is up. We're going to see if Apbren actually wants to try to contest this. It might come down to a retribution battle.
Oh no, Kekedon gets blasted! Kellera takes the kill. That's the SOD coming in from Shizu, and they decide to fight. Now everyone's in the middle of the fist break, and Kellera finds his double kill, but Shizu gets to take down Brusco!
Kellera up against 2. He's working on there. He might be able to take him down, and a triple! Again, Kellera up against Softguard. Oh! A maniac for the god in the gold lane!
It's a wipeout for Onic Philippines, and they get to secure the Lord!
Cool, Kellera's positioning, and you saw, even with the Haas Claws, able to stay in that fight. He got a little health back even before recommitting to it, and then all turns into just getting a maniac here. Onic Philippines just flipping the switch, all of that resulting into a massive objective and now a massive gold lead ahead. And it's, again, Apbren. It looked okay for a while, but now they find themselves in this position.
Yeah, so much is denied from Apbren once Onic Philippines gets to immediately shut down Kekedon. And that has been the story for the majority of this game. Kekedon just can't seem to find the angles. He immediately gets caught by either Super Friends. He immediately gets poked down, and now they're making their way through the base.
11 minutes in already, a 7K gold lead for Onic. Apbren gonna try and make quick work of that Lord, but Holy Shields will be gone. At first, it's down bottom. Now they're targeting the top lane. They will, however, be able to save inhibitor turrets, but again, at this point, nothing. No one is safe. There's a conceal coming in from Brusco. They might look for an angle right now, but they're not gonna force out anything. Super Friends hitting with Abyssal Arrow. They might go for Kekedon.
Oh, look at the damage, and there's the trap to finish off the kill. Super Friends is now legendary on this Selena, and they might actually gain gradual access to the inhibitor turrets now.
They still hold on, Apbren, holding on to the base turrets, but they just playing around, trying to dodge the arrows from Super Friends. Now sitting at 8-0-4. It's a massive game on the Selena right now as the wave's pushing now in top and mid and bottom. Can Apbren hold on to this?
Apbren on the verge of elimination. Brusco goes in.
Oh, King Kong gets taken down though by Chop Skirt, but there's an immediate response from the Super Fab. It seems like Apbren still wants to make things happen. That's the unstoppable one, but Chop Skirt gets left alone against Super Friends, and Kellera's just going for it. He's finishing everyone off.
Oh no, Shizu up against Kurt. 2 are still alive, but Super Friends are in the picture also. It's gonna be a 2-on-2 that we're able to defend, but all the inhibitor turrets are taken down. And Apbren, they are still alive.
They get to defend even when we thought that Onic Philippines was so close to putting an end to it. So they get to live for a little longer.
Oof, they live a little longer. They got a ton of gold in their hands, but is it going to be enough? We're 20 seconds away from this Lord to come up, but Onic Philippines will be back for the fight, so Apbren has to make use of that extra gold they just got in their pockets, because even when it comes to the team fights, again, that was Onic Philippines just pressuring them, you know, playing around the fact even Kellera jumping in for the fight. And so now, will it come down to them actually getting control around this Lord as Apbren gets in position for Onic Philippines to go ahead and still, they know Conceal's going to be used. They're going to push them off this Lord here.
Okay, Brusco spots out almost everyone from Apbren, and they just take full control of this Lord pit. Apbren, though, they still have their resources, they still have the glorious pathway, and they have the setups that could potentially come from Kekedon. But Kekedon has to be extra careful on who he is going to commit these skills onto.
They're now gonna commit to the split push. She's already has a wind of nature, so even if King Kong manages to go to him, he can outplay him, even with a Wiki shadow kill, but he's now gonna go home because he has to defend the mid lane. And once he shows himself, Onic might be able to make a move, but Apbren starting things off. They might want to go for the burst on the Lord.
Could this be an advantage for Apbren? Brusco and Keller are yet to make their way, but still they get to catch up. That's a glorious pathway to somehow slow them down. But look at the mid-break fist crack from Kirk! He gets to land it onto James Bax. There is the first of all, but both XP-laners get traded out. Shizo is next, and now it's a double kill for King Kong!
Kekadot is the only one left up against 4 gods in the bottom lane. Is this enough time for Onic to eliminate Apbren?
And that is it for Apbren as Onic Philippines secures the sweep!
And the Super Fam will come through.